So, first piece is oak. We all love it, the country's obsessed with it. It is the most widespread commercial broadleaf in the UK. Now, people often say to me when I tell them what I do, they say, there aren't any oak trees in this country, or, where do you get your wood from? Well, there is. It's mainly tucked away in private estates, which we don't get to see on the whole, so we're invited in. But at any one time, we're stocking something close to 10,000 cubic metres of log, beam, plank ready for selling. So there clearly is supply enough out there to do most projects. And it is some of the most beautiful oak in the world. And I would even say it is the most beautiful oak in the world. You only have to look at some of the pieces outside, and some of the unique oak we have, the brown oak and the pippy oak and the bur oak, which in some cases comes from bad forest management. But it produces this stunning wood with amazing grain. Now you put that next to a piece of dead straight German oak or American oak, and I guarantee almost every customer will go to that and say, that's beautiful. It may be more difficult to produce, difficult to cut, difficult to work, but what is it worth it when you finish your piece? Some examples. These were some chairs made for Oxford University. I should also say as well, we've got Matthew's furniture here, but actually the ash chairs you're sat on here, and some out there is by a company called Bates and Lambourne, which is another very good furniture maker. So it's good for interior, exterior, flooring, cladding, shingles and laths. I've got Joe here who actually produces shingles and laths from English oak logs, British oak logs. Did you bring some with you, Joe?
Yes.
Good man. British sweet chestnut. Actually, I think probably my favourites. English timber. All of the joinery in here, windows, doors, are all made out of chestnut. Floors chestnut. You'll see some finger jointed chestnuts cladding on the wall next door. It's reasonably abundant but completely unloved. Until a few years ago, we would ship all of our logs abroad to the southern part of Europe because just no one wanted to use it in this country. But actually, it's becoming more and more popular. And people are realising, actually, you can put this up against oak, and in many ways it's better. It's lighter, it's more stable, I think it's more beautiful. And so it's worth considering, if you are designing in some oak, think about sweet chestnut instead. And the finger jointing, as I say, improves performance with things like cladding. Also, the finger jointing, what it allows us to do, and when we walk around the yard later, for those of you that are coming, we're going to follow basically chestnut through. And you'll see how it allows us to basically use the top end of the log, which we couldn't have used before because it's full of knots. That's where the branches come out. But now what we can do is actually cut the good bits out, glue them back together, and have a really very useful piece of wood, a stable piece of wood. So ash is not a durable timber, except, I do have some little examples here. This is French, I have to admit first of all, but that's actually some heat-treated ash, which is pretty amazing stuff. It looks like walnut, and it ends up with class 1 durability, and it's much denser, so it can be completely used in place of tropical timber. So this is something that is being explored in this country as well, but it's possibly one of the answers to quantity of ash. But I'd also say, in terms of furniture, in terms of design, let's think about where we can use this wood. Piece of Matthew Bird's furniture, again, it just shows how stunning it can be. Sycamore, I'm not going to say too much about sycamore. It grows like a weed, but it is similar in appearance to maple, so worth considering if you're thinking of designing maple in. And piece of your furniture, Matthew, some spalted sycamore. Then on to the softwoods. Douglas fir is a great softwood we grow in this country. It's harder and stronger than pine and spruce. And importantly, and I might be corrected by our Forestry Commission friends on this, but I understand that where we have these patches of disease, ash and disease larch, they're going to replant with certain other species, one of which is Douglas fir, Western cedar. So there will probably be increasing amounts of Douglas fir over time. And we've seen a great project from Jim for framing. And it's half the price of oak, pretty much exactly, as a structural section. It's good for structural. Joinery, yes-ish, as long as it's been graded at the very highest level. It doesn't, the knots in Douglas fir in this country don't dry particularly well. But certainly for structural use, it's very good. Larch, another slight problem there. It's another one of the timbers that has a major disease, and this is a major disease. Certainly in the top half of the country, there are now millions of cubic metres of standing larch that's got to come down right now. The majority of it will end up probably in biofuel because we just don't have the capacity to cut it. However, again, I think we should try and do what we can to use it. Now, historically, historically we've used it for traditional cladding, so sawn feather edge, green edge cladding. But there's only a limited market for that. So we have been experimenting with actually finger jointing larch. So that means we can take out the troublesome knots, the ones that are going to fall out in the hole, good bits back together, and you've got a nice stable cladding board. Now, I guess I'm talking here to the architects, oak framers that are going to clad the buildings. If you're thinking of Siberian larch, if you're thinking of Canadian cedar, maybe just give this larch a thought, because it will be cheaper, a lot cheaper than Canadian cedar. I will make it cheaper than Siberian larch, maybe a little bit, but it will be cheaper. So just have a think about that as a product. It's tough, it's durable, and you can finger joint it. This is some pictures of the larch in its very rustic form, which can be beautiful, but it is a rustic look. Western red cedar. Not many people actually know that we grow Western red cedar in this country, but we do. It's the same species that grows in Canada, but it obviously grows very differently here. It grows quicker, it's smaller and more knotty. You will see plenty of cedar rods as we walk around later. This again has been planted in place of diseased trees, so you'll see more cedar. 25 to 30% cheaper than Canadian cedar. It's got to be worth a look. It is knotty. There's no point getting away from that. If your client is after something very contemporary and clean, it's probably not the wood for you. But if they don't mind a few knots, it's worth considering. A picture, a very good one. So just the last thing I want to talk about is actually specifying British wood.